state your name and rank for the record.
Schaefer, Scott Allen. Serial number 61279. Captain. Bravo Company, Delta Battalion. 707th Colonial Expeditionary Forces.
Captain, you are here to address the situation that occurred on the 13th of October.
Yes.
You have been made aware, and have waived your rights to legal representation. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have been informed that this interview is being recorded for analysis?
Yes.
Very well. Proceed.
In order to understand the situation, you need a little context. It was late September. I had just returned from a tour in Pegasi when the call came in. Apparently a mining group in the Draconis cluster dug up some kind of buried structure. Ancient, according to the mission brief. But that wasn't the odd part. Contact was lost with the mining facility a couple hours after. The battalion was deployed immediately.
And then what?
Standard operating procedure. On orbit we attempted contacting the facility. After waiting 12 hours with no response, I reported back. I was ordered to stand by and wait for a representative for the company who was 3 hours out. System.
What representative?
I thought it was a rep from the mining company coming to provide information and access. But they were from another company.
Irrelevant. What happened when the representative arrived?
We were informed by command to defer to their judgment. That was a mistake.
How so?
We saddled up in full combat gear and landing on the surface.
For the record, please identify any and all equipment used during the operation.
Fine. Special issue fatigues. Black, blue and red camo pattern. M7 light assault armor. Dark gray. M100 prototype automatic rifles. 6 magazines, each loaded with 50 explosive-tipped rounds. We then dropped groundside in our individual coffins.
Coffins?
Our word for them. Their technical name is Rapid Deployment Capsule or RDC, but if your airbags don't deploy, these cone-shaped vehicles will most definitely dig your grave.
Why did you outfit your men like this?
Obviously it meant that we were going into a fluid situation. With no intel on the ground, we had to be prepared for any situation.
Those explosive rounds are heavily regulated due to the potential collateral damage they can cause in close proximity.
It doesn't matter that we were in close quarters. We were still unprepared.
Continue.
Once we were groundside, we performed an initial sweep of the complex. There was nothing. It was as if the miners had simply vanished into thin air. Then we searched every inch of the mine proper. We found nothing. Then we decided to head into the uncovered structure and search it. That's when it went sideways.
Go on.
What made it odd was that the structure seemed to have power. There was this hum that was more felt than heard, but you could still hear it if you were quiet enough. That's when we found the bodies.
What bodies?
It's in my report.
It is not.
That's impossible. I wrote it and sent an encrypted copy to command once I was cleared for duty.
All we have on file are the events leading up to entry. Then your miraculous rescue by an unknown party.
What's going on here?
What are you implying?
Get me a hard copy. Somebody's tampered with the report. Redacted or erased the information before it got back to command.
What you are saying is treason.
Then how do you explain this?
We need to move on. The incident. What do you remember? For the record.
Once inside the entrance, we found several of the miners. They were still in their pressure suits, except their faceplates were smashed in. Their faces crushed. We tagged the bodies for retrieval and continued deeper inside. The structure must have had some kind of motion sensor because the lights went out.
Then what happened?
The representative decided to change our objective. Instead of search and rescue, we were told to proceed to a set of coordinates a couple kilometers away.
Was this still in the facility?
Until we reached the coordinates.
What do you mean?
All the architecture looked the same, if not identical. But when we arrived at the location, the architecture changed. It became more grown and less designed. That's when we saw the hive.
Hive?
Yeah. That's what it looked like. Some kind of insect hive. Except it was protected underneath a shimmering transparent dome.
Was the dome solid?
No. It put off some energy because our counters picked up traces of background radiation.
So, do you think that it was some type of research complex?
I don't get paid to think. I get paid to follow orders, and that is exactly what I did.
You were the only survivor.
That's not true. I was dragged out of there by somebody.
Do you know what they looked like?
My vision was blurry. I had a mild concussion. All I can remember was that they were wearing black sealed environment combat suits with gas masks and had some upgraded version of our rifles.
What kinds of upgrades?
I don't see how that is relevant to the situation.
For the record,
They had mounted scopes. State-of-the-art ones too. The kind that command would drool over. Some kind of vented shroud on the receivers. Their barrels were cut shorter and suppressed.
did you recognize any of them?
No. Like I said, they were in environment suits. Their faces were covered up.
Any identifying marks or patches?
None that I could see.
I see. Thank you for your cooperation.
Does this mean I'm free to go?
Not quite. There's still one loose end to make sense of.
And what's that?
You said prior to this incident you completed a tour in Pegasi,
That's right.
and you cited standard operating procedure when you arrived on station, hours prior to the incident.
I don't see where you're going with this.
Indulge me. Standard military procedures include a mandate that anyone returning from an off-world deployment of 50 light years or more is awarded leave for 2 consecutive weeks immediately afterwards.
And your point is?
Why did you volunteer to take this mission? What made this mission different from any other search and rescue operation?
I didn't want to take my leave. I just wanted to get back out there.
By putting your men at risk?
Whenever we are on deployment, my men are always at risk. We've operated in the harshest conditions in more than 1,000 operations on several hundred worlds.
You're avoiding the question. Why risk your men?
Because it was the right thing to do.
And why is that?
Their family.
Family?
Yes.
What about down there?
What are you talking about?
Your brother. In the Draconis cluster. He was groundside when contact was lost. Wasn't he?
So?
So, you knew where he was, and we have reports that you paid handsomely for a shuttle ticket back to Luna when news reports broadcasted the loss of contact.
There's nothing in standard operating procedure against volunteering your unit for a rescue mission.
You're right. There isn't. I'm just curious as to why.
Because he's family. Any risk was worth it to try to bring him home. But I failed and my men paid the price for it.
Your brother is alive.
That isn't true. I was dragged out of there by somebody. Do you know what they looked like?